Have you ever heard phrases like, you do you, or I'm just living my truth? Maybe you even have said them before in your life. They sound empowering, right? But what if those phrases are only telling half of the story? Sure, we have the freedom to make our own choices, but there's a reality. Our freedom doesn't mean that our actions don't have consequences, especially for the people around us. So let's look at one of the oldest stories in Scripture about Cain and Abel. They were brothers, and Abel took care of animals, and Cain worked on the land. One day they both brought an offering to God. Abel gave the best of his cattle, and Cain just gave some crops. God accepted Abel's offering, but not Cain's. And Cain didn't take it well. Here's what it says in Genesis. So Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. God sees what's happening inside of Cain and gives him a warning and says, if you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door, and you must rule over it. Unfortunately, Cain doesn't listen. He lets his anger win, and he invites Abel out to the field and he kills him. When God asks, where's your brother? Cain says, I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? That's the question that we're still asking today. Am I responsible for the people around me? And God's answer, yes, you are. Cain had the freedom to make his choices, but he forgot something crucial. Freedom doesn't mean isolation. We live in connection with family, friends, classmates, teammates, and even strangers. What we say and do impacts them, whether we see it or not. Jesus took this idea even further in Matthew 10, and he said, anyone who welcomes you welcomes me. And if anyone gives you even a cup of cold water to one of these little ones who is my disciple, truly I tell you, that person will certainly not lose their reward. In other words, the way we treat others, especially those who may seem less important, matters deeply to God. Small acts of care and kindness are never wasted. They reflect how seriously we take our responsibility to love like Jesus did. Let's use a quick illustration, right? I want you to imagine a potted plant, just one plant in a pot. This plant grows on its own. It's fine in isolation. But now I want you to sit there and think of a forest or a jungle. That's an entire ecosystem, right? With plants, animals, air, soil, water, all working together to thrive. You and I, we were not created to be potted plants. We're part of an ecosystem. Our actions impact the whole. So what do we do with that? Well, here's 3 simple ways to live like you're responsible for others. First, think before you act. Not every decision affects just you. Ask, will this choice help or hurt someone else? Second, take responsibility. When you mess up, and we all do, we need to own it. We need to apologize. We need to make it right. We can't just move on and act like nothing happened and go back to that person and expect it to be just fine. Third, use your freedom for good. Choose to care. Show up. Encourage somebody. Speak up when something's not okay. Some of you may have been hurt by someone else's choices, and that's real, and it's not your fault. If that's your story, your role isn't to carry the weight of someone else's pain. It's to speak up. It's to get help from someone who can. Being responsible doesn't mean you fix everything. It means you care enough to do the right thing, even when it's hard, even when you don't want to. Jesus showed us what it means to take responsibility for others, and he did it perfectly. Now he invites us to follow his lead. So here's the question. What's one way you can use your freedom this week to bring good into someone else's life? Let's be the people who live like we're responsible for each other. Take care. Have a beautiful week, everybody.